Thank you very much, Lascan Corla. I was very proud that the Green Party argued passionately for the recognition of Palestine in the programme for government we agreed with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael back in 2020. Events have moved on since then, tragically so, but the case for recognising Palestine was as strong back then as it is now. It wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when and to what effect. And today we deliver on that commitment as a government and as a parliament, and the timing, in my belief, is important and right. Firstly, because we do not do so alone, not just Spanish and Norwegian colleagues, but it also comes after that vote in the United Nations on the 10th of May last, when 143 countries voted in favour of Palestine being recognised within the United Nations system. And secondly, as the Taoiseach has just said, the timing is important here because that Arab peace plan presented at the European Council yesterday has central to it the issue of recognition and the benefit and the momentum it can bring to deliver a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire. And thirdly, the need for that ceasefire. The fact that we cannot stay silent, either on the release of hostages or what we saw the day before yesterday, the bombing of a refugee camp in Rafah, which is similar to what had happened right through the last 7 months. And critically as well, our timing of this recognition comes on the back of an application from the International Criminal Court for a warrant against the Israeli Prime Minister for the actions that are taking place, and the International Court of Justice called similar to ourselves for an immediate end to the assault on Gaza. So today we recognise the state of Palestine, and I believe it has a particular resonance for Irish people given the echoes it brings from our own history. It's the right and proper thing to do. I know the concept of nationhood can be a fraught one. Populations can move and intersperse with others, borders can shift back and forth with time, and ethnicity is as inexact a concept as it is a motive. But there can be little doubt that the Palestinian people have an undeniable argument for nationhood. Denying or hindering such an obvious claim is as morally wrong as it is unwise. It stores up grievances that future generations will ultimately have to deal with. Some of the responses from the ordinary Palestinian people we've heard from since we announced our intention have been very moving. The need to secure a ceasefire and get humanitarian into Gaza remains without doubt the most pressing challenge facing the people of Palestine, but it has been heartening to hear that the decision of Ireland, Spain and Norway has offered some solace to those who may have despaired that the international community have forgotten their plight. It's not merely to offer a sense of solidarity that we take this step. We recognise Palestine today because we recognise that peace cannot be achieved without doing so. Joseph Borrell, the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, put it well last November when he said that our political myopia has led us to think that the conflict was manageable by paying lip service to the two-state solution and then leaving it to fester. He was right. The West averted its gaze and was content to let the situation fester as long as the uneasy peace continued and didn't intrude upon our lives. We have learnt the hard way that this tactic was not just morally wrong, but strategically foolish. And we are unequivocal. Nothing can justify the barbaric slaughter Hamas carried out on the 7th of October, but neither can any of us stand here and say that we never suspected that the powder keg that was Gaza would not explode with such devastating consequences. And we know that Ireland's recognition may present challenge for Jewish people in Israel and across the world, and I ask our Jewish friends with real respect that you look to our experience here on this island, where the long-term denial of one community's rights in favour of another's led to similar misery and devastation. Such an injustice can be maintained for decades, maybe even longer, but a people's right to exist cannot be suppressed forever. Let me also reiterate to Israel The Irish people recognise your rights to exist as a nation. Recognising Palestine does not in any way diminish your rights as a state. In fact, it is the opposite. Our dearest wish is that the establishment of a Palestinian state solidifies your existence and allows you to prosper and flourish in peace and harmony with your neighbours. I particularly want to offer reassurance to Jewish friends living here in Ireland. The last 7 months have not been easy, and many maybe feel that there's a change in attitude towards them or people of their religion. We need to assure them they are welcome here, they belong here, they are as Irish as all of us. They're respected and a part of our state, our citizenship. And long may Ireland be a home to Jewish people so they can continue their outstanding contribution to our nation in art, in science, in business and in politics. This House has benefited so much from people from our Jewish community. I share their frustration at the one-sided approach that some people take to the conflict. There are some who appear to think that Israel's government's appalling actions mean they can be silent on Hamas's atrocities. I do not. This is not a matter of taking sides. The atrocities were committed towards innocent Israelis on the 7th of October were vile, as is the slaughter that the Israeli Defence Forces have unleashed upon innocent Palestinians after it. Both are wrong, and we are vociferous in condemning both. I said this outside government buildings when we made our announcement last Wednesday, that we had learned the hard way in Ireland that using violence against innocent civilians to try and achieve political goals can and must never win. Whether that's a car bomb on the streets of Omagh or Jerusalem, be it a rocket landing in Tel Aviv or a no-warning bomb blast in Birmingham, be that the assault on a kibbutz or a bomb dropped from a jet fighter onto a refugee camp in Gaza, it is all wrong. There is no hierarchy in death. I would like to conclude by responding to criticism that has been levelled at us by the Israeli government that by recognising Palestine, that we are somehow emboldening the terrorists of Hamas, and that this decision will only lead us further down the path of violence. Again, I think valuable lessons can be taken from the Irish experience. There was a time, after all, when similar warnings were made by the British establishment, a long time ago now, that the Irish were not fit to govern themselves and that anarchy would surely follow if we were given the chance. The path to Irish statehood wasn't smooth, but over a century on from those dire warnings, the nation that we represent in this chamber, I think, stands up for the rights of the United Nations, the rights of individual nations, stands up to try and help build peace in our very troubled, conflict-ridden world. If allowed to, and with the support from around the world, I pray that Palestine could in time follow a similar path to our own. There will no doubt be missteps just as we have made, and setbacks undoubtedly, but the only path forward involves recognising that Palestine too has an unalienable right to take its place in the international community. When the people of Palestine ask for us is not outrageous or extravagant, if anything it is modest. As the Palestinian American academic Edward Said said, it is no more than any of us would ask for ourselves. The long-run goal, he wrote, is the same for every human being, that politically he or she may be allowed to live free from fear, insecurity, terror and oppression, free also from the possibility of exercising unequal or unjust domination over others. Today we recognise Palestine as a state. We commit to working with our European colleagues here in government, across the aisles, I'm sure, in this House, to do everything we can to support an immediate cessation of the assault in Gaza, and that the day after that ceasefire, we help deliver a two-state solution, which is the only path to peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.